Police looking for answers on a standoff that lasted over 12 hours. How neighbors feel about this happening right in their own backyard. Coming up.
Every firework that's not lit is a potential fire that doesn't happen.
Firefighters, city leaders, and Utah's governor have a plea for you this year.
I'm tracking storms across Utah where we could see flooding today coming up.
Huge flash floods leave a lot of damage behind at Zion National Park in Springdale. Coming up, we're going to show you the cleanup efforts that are underway.
Plus, the lag between storms and the wall of water. What makes flash flooding so dangerous and deceptive?
A local attorney tells me Bill Cosby is walking free because of a legal mistake. What this means for victims, coming up.
I have learned you have to make your own happiness. And so that's what I do.
After surviving a shooting 4 years ago, how this Cache Valley teen is choosing her happiness and sharing it with others.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13's Live at 5 starts right now.
Spoke to a few of the neighbors here, and they said, of course, nothing ever happens like this in their neighborhood.
Today, police entered a South Ogden home after a standoff that lasted more than 12 hours. When they finally went in, they found a man dead.
We're getting new information about that standoff. Fox 13's Spencer Joseph is live on the scene now. Spencer.
Yeah, good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and zoom in on that home. The big thing you'll notice is the big hole in the wall that right now police are looking into. You could see investigators with cameras taking pictures of that. The other thing, every single window in this home is shot out, and possessions are coming out onto the front lawn from that giant hole. Police are not telling us exactly how that hole got there. There's also some severe damage to the garage on the other side of the home as well. But one thing they are telling us at this hour is this is not the first time police have been to this home. It's been a long afternoon of collecting evidence, taking pictures, and investigating Wednesday morning's over 12-hour-long SWAT standoff.
The SWAT officers did enter the home approximately 11:45 and found the subject deceased.
Bullets tore up the glass on armored vehicles from the Weber County Sheriff's Office. And getting our first look at the home, windows were shot out and a large hole has been taken out of the side of the house. And a garage door bent is just some of the damage. Police not releasing how that happened yet.
I don't have any details as to that. That again would have to be released by the Weber County Attorney's Office.
And then to hear that boom, like I don't know if it was a grenade or something that went off, but it was different. Never something I've heard around here. That's like 4th of July.
Brian Stan Steven lives just down the street.
About 30 years now.
And wasn't expecting this is what he would wake up to.
Not scary, just shocking more than anything.
Especially with his kids sound asleep when this broke out.
It's pretty terrifying knowing that the kids were sleeping when all this was going down. So.
The call to the home initially came from officers at the hospital, with multiple family members revealing they had been injured in a domestic violence dispute.
Domestic violence situations can be quite volatile. You know, there's a lot of unknowns going in, and officers are trained to react to those.
And this isn't the first time.
It's my understanding that we did come over here once prior in the recent past for something similar.
So while the neighborhood watches on, police turn their attention towards answers.
They have some experts that dig into this and make sure that nothing does fall through the cracks.
You can see investigators still looking in that part of the home that has been broken through. And as we come back here live, one of the things that I do want to mention is the fact that they believe that they're going to be on scene even until tomorrow. That's very unusual for scenes like this to go on so long. But you can see CSI is here from Layton and the Weber County Sheriff's Office. So definitely a long investigation ahead. And of course, we'll keep you updated. But for now, live in South Ogden, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you or someone you know are a victim of domestic violence, there is help available. The Domestic Violence Coalition is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, completely free of charge. You see the number on your screen, 1-800-897-5465. If you are in imminent danger, please call 911. We do have many more resources available on our website, fox13now.com.
Zion National Park is back open this afternoon after a devastating flash flood ripped through the park's south entrance and through the north part of Springdale yesterday. Witnesses say it only took 10 to 20 minutes after rain fell yesterday before all of the mud and rocks devastated businesses and cars and left people stranded looking for higher ground.
A lot of devastation. I mean, seriously, I mean, who would ever think, you know, that type of rain would send this much devastation? Rocks, boulders, I mean, big rocks, big boulders, moving cars, you know, just devastating, you know, the neighborhood, businesses, hotels, whatever else. So.
Yeah, it was really something. Fox 13 News has team coverage on the flooding in southern Utah. Lauren Steinbrecher will have a live report coming up at 5:30. There's a new fire that has started in Cache County. Fire officials are calling it the Ant Flat Fire. It's estimated to have burned at least 20 acres now. It is threatening structures. We'll keep you posted on this fire as we learn more.
Please celebrate without personal fireworks.
Another plea from the governor and dozens of city leaders and firefighters to Utahns about fireworks.
On Capitol Hill, state lawmakers held a news conference today to warn of how bad conditions are for drought and wildfires.
As Ben Winslow reports, they're asking for you to do your part.
Look, you can see all around me the conditions. Here in City Creek Canyon, everything is dry. Today, the governor pleaded with Utahns to skip the fireworks this year to avoid catastrophic wildfires across the state.
If I could issue a ban on personal fireworks, I would, but state law does not allow me to do that. So I'm asking you, I'm imploring you, each of you, to do the right thing. And the right thing this year is to put your personal fireworks away.
The governor joined with dozens of firefighters and city leaders to urge Utahns to not use fireworks this year.
We're asking everybody to come together and be responsible this year.
With Utah's drought emergency and the risk of wildfires, things are not getting any better.
We want you to enjoy the 4th. We want you to enjoy the 24th. We just don't want the risk that our current weather and fire conditions are presenting.
Firefighters are staffing up for the 4th of July weekend and worried it won't be enough.
Any ignition around your home has the potential to spread much faster than maybe you've seen before.
Instead, they're asking people to stick to the professional shows, which are licensed and have appropriate supervision. Some cities have enacted all-out bans on personal fireworks, while others have severe restrictions.
95% of our residents want additional restrictions in years such as what we're seeing right now. So these big dry years that we're seeing, our residents are wanting that. And unfortunately, we can't do an all-out ban because of the way the state code is written.
There's actually disagreement over how Utah fireworks laws are written when it comes to all-out bans, and the legislature is expected to address it.
I'm getting more phone calls about this topic than I've had about political topics.
The governor says save your fireworks for New Year's.
Every firework that's not lit is a potential fire that doesn't happen. And so we'll take the wins we can get there. My other hope is those that are insistent on lighting off fireworks will be safer this year.
And Fox 13 has confirmed the state will be more aggressive in going after people who start wildfires and the costs for fighting them. Utah's Department of Natural Resources will get a lawyer specifically assigned to cover wildfire suppression costs. That person starts their job on Wednesday. In Salt Lake City, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Governor Cox met with President Biden today to talk about wildfires. The president also spoke with Western governors about the impacts of climate change on the area. Governor Cox says they discussed better ways to remove wildfire fuels and bark beetle infestations. The president pledged to raise the pay of wildland firefighters working in tough conditions.
Wildfires certainly have been a talker lately. Yesterday and today now, though, Allison, we're talking about rain and flooding.
Yes, absolutely. So just issued, we do have an increased chance for a flash flood threat for the area that I've circled across southern Utah. So it's not an official imminent warning. It's just an area that I am closely watching. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. This area is of particular concern because we have some slow-moving storms that really just are pretty saturated, and we do have that chance for localized flash flooding, especially through the next 3 to 4 hours. Now, once we lose our daytime heating, that threat will start to diminish, but we are closely keeping our eye on southern Utah here today. So Ridgefield down through Bryce Canyon, that's where we're seeing some of our heaviest rainfall currently, down through Panguitch over towards Escalante. And as we look near the Nevada border, West Desert, that's where we're also seeing some stronger thunderstorms. Utah County down through Payson, we've been seeing some heavier rainfall, lightning, small hail, and also gusty wind. But we look at the forecast through the rest of the evening, and we'll continue with this threat for a few more hours. Temperatures are going to heat up this weekend as well. Let's talk about what you can expect for 4th of July and more thunderstorms tomorrow in the full forecast.
Thanks, Allison. Still to come, a dramatic turn of events in Pennsylvania as Bill Cosby becomes a free man after 2 years behind bars. Why he was able to be released and what local experts have to say about it.
And more than 20,000 Utahns are saying no to this glamping proposal. We break down their top concerns as the company continues to run sites across the state.
A new glamping development is being proposed in San Juan County, and there is some pushback from the locals.
Right now, there are more than 2,400 signatures on a petition against the development. The proposed 220-acre resort would be near Looking Glass Rock, which is really a popular rock climbing and recreation area. There are two main points of concern here. First, changing the natural character of the recreation area with these tents. Also, water quality control after issues popped up recently.
Effluent, bubbled out of the leach field and actually ran across the surface of the ground. And the employees I talked to said that has been an issue for a long time there.
Under Canvas, the company says the septic issues are a recently discovered problem. Now, if this proposal is approved, there will be 3 glamping sites from this company in Utah.
A prominent Utah religious leader has passed away. The Right Reverend Carolyn Tanner Irish of Utah's Episcopal Diocese passed away yesterday at the age of 81. She was surrounded by her family. Bishop Irish led the Episcopal Church in Utah from 1996 to 2010. She was an influential figure in Utah politics and was a generous donor to the University of Utah. In a statement, Bishop Scott Hayashi says he visited with her on Monday, and in her weakened state, she was still a gracious host. He asks for prayers for her family. A date for services has yet to be announced.
Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill is joining prosecutors across the nation in condemning anti-transgender laws. The DA joined 70 other prosecutors opposing laws targeting medical treatment for transgender youth and blocking them from participating in sports. The letter says they will not use their resources to go after doctors who treat transgender people, even if legislatures criminalize it, saying it gets in the middle of the doctor-patient relationship.
So help me God. Congratulations. Welcome.
A great day on Utah's Capitol Hill. 124 people officially became citizens of the United States. The naturalization ceremony this morning featured people who came to Utah from all over the world to take the oath of citizenship. It takes years of work for people to get to this point.
This is going to go until we pull everybody out of there.
The death toll from that South Florida condo collapse continues to climb. What could come next into the investigation of the collapse as the search continues?
A Pennsylvania district attorney seems to not have read the fine print on an agreement between his predecessor and Bill Cosby. What that agreement was and why Bill Cosby is now walking free, coming up next.
In national news, actor and comedian Bill Cosby has been released from prison after the Pennsylvania Supreme Court vacated his conviction. Cosby served more than 2 years behind bars after he was convicted in 2018 of drugging and molesting a Temple University employee. However, Pennsylvania's High Court ruled that Cosby's due process rights were violated when he was charged and convicted. The court also ruled allowing other accusers to testify about their experiences with Cosby in the 1980s tainted the trial.
The legal agreement between Cosby and the district attorney is one a criminal defense attorney in Salt Lake City says he's never seen before. And he says it would not apply here in Utah.
Fox 13's Aaron Cox spoke with that attorney and with a local domestic violence and rape crisis center about what happened. Both say there is one main message we can take from the court's decision.
Bill Cosby was convicted and sentenced for drugging and sexually assaulting Andrea Constad, and now Cosby walks free.
The victim didn't do anything wrong. The victim did everything, the victims, because there were multiple victims, right? The victims did everything that they should have done. They reported it, they had evidence, he pled guilty, he admitted to it. They did everything right, and still the system failed them.
Kristen Floyd, executive director of Safe Harbor, a locally owned group serving sexual assault and domestic violence survivors, says she's seen this happen before.
His is far more visible, right? Because he's a movie star and in Hollywood and all of those things, but you'd be surprised how often that happens to victims and their perpetrators go free.
The reason Bill Cosby is free from prison is not because he did not do what he's accused of, rather because of a legal mistake.
This is rare. This is a rare case, and the outcome here is an extreme outcome.
Jesse Nix, an attorney focusing on criminal defense, says he's never seen an agreement like the one Cosby found himself in. Cosby had made an agreement to tell his attorney the truth if all charges would be taken off the table. They were, until a new district attorney reopened the investigation years later.
If you are a person who's charged with a crime, you're made a promise that no one is going to use your words against you, and then you freely speak about it. It's really unfair for the state to come back and go, now we're going to put you in prison.
Nix says the Pennsylvania Supreme Court was right to decide Cosby was not tried fairly.
It sends a couple messages. One, if you are a victim of sexual assault, rape, anything like that, you need to go to the police and make a statement. That's the only way people are going to believe you. Right? I think the other message it sends is that if you're a criminal defendant charged with this, you have constitutional rights, right? You can't be forced to testify to give evidence against yourself. You have a right to defend yourself in court with the help of an attorney.
Victims are coming forward and their entire personal life is put on trial along with the perpetrators.
Though today may have felt like a sucker punch to the stomach for victims, Floyd says it's worth the fight.
Don't stop reporting.
In Salt Lake City, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
If you've been a victim of sexual harassment or assault, there are resources to help you. The Utah Coalition Against Sexual Assault has a mobile app and a 24-hour crisis line. And RAIN, the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization, has chat and phone hotlines open 24/7. Learn more at fox13now.com.
New numbers here. The latest report released by the U.S. Drought Monitor says 92% of Utah is experiencing extreme or exceptional drought conditions, and that is a 2% increase from just a week ago.
The Department of Natural Resources says the water levels in Utah reservoirs and streams is leaving us relying on water stored from years past. The department is worried as we head into the annual peak of water usage.
We had an increased number of reservoirs that are dropped below 55% of their capacity, as well as namely Gunnison completely running out of water and being dry.
The department also says we need 9 inches of precipitation, 9, to bring our water levels back to average.
And that information gets released every Thursday, so of course I'll be watching for that heading into tomorrow. But we start with a flash flood threat here across southern Utah for today. So this is the area that we're watching for the southern half of the state. Localized flash flooding is possible over the next 4 hours. We don't have any flash flood warnings currently, but this is an area that we are pretty concerned about, especially because of the amount of moisture in our mid-levels right now. So zooming back into southern Utah, we've got a lot of lightning from Bryce Canyon up through central Utah towards Nephi. Same thing, just zooming in right now. I took off the lightning so you can get a better idea where we're seeing that heaviest rain. Circleville down through Panguitch, mostly linked to the highest terrain. Western Utah near Delta, spotty showers with some heavy rain. We had along I-15 between Santaquin and Provo, right near Payson, about a half hour ago. Some heavy rain that moved through. We saw some small hail, quite a bit of lightning, and also gusty wind. But we look at the forecast for tomorrow and we have more thunderstorms possible. Here's the viewing price. You can see some raindrops on the camera shield right here, but what we do have a lot of clouds and some lower visibility because of all the clouds that we have in the area. Right now here in Salt Lake, 86, a little bit of a break in the cloud downtown right now, that cloud cover, but temperatures tomorrow will be even hotter. Right now it's about 80 to 90, but if you are wanting to get outside, you've got now until the 4th of July off, and you want to get out and you want to do all kinds of hiking and fun stuff that we love to do here in Utah, know that you're going to have some better conditions for that Saturday, Sunday, and into Monday. So our wind is pretty breezy right now. Vernal, Price, Bryce, Cedar City, Milford, and St. George, we're seeing some wind gusts today. And into tomorrow, I expect that wind to remain a bit breezy. Scattered thunderstorms for today with heavy rain possible, more rain tomorrow, flash flooding concerns. And then we will have a hot holiday weekend with drier weather and above average temperatures. So storm threat for tomorrow will continue with that chance for some thunderstorms here across the region. 68 when you wake up tomorrow morning here in Salt Lake. We'll see a break from the thunderstorms this evening. By tomorrow, some more scattered thunderstorms are possible with highs around 90. And when you first wake up tomorrow morning, 60 to 70. For temperatures for tomorrow afternoon, it'll be about 85 to 95 here across the state. St. George close to 100, breezy tomorrow, scattered thunderstorms close to 105 the rest of your 7-day forecast, including the 4th of July. And for the Wasatch Front, mid-90s for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then upper 90s into next week as well. Let's talk more about how much rain we can expect across southern Utah coming up in the next forecast.
A huge mess after flash floods in Zion National Park in Springdale. Coming up, the quick work by the park to get the highway back open and visitors back in.
Plus, the husband of Vice President Kamala Harris is paying a visit to Utah this week. What we've learned about his upcoming trip.
And she's overcome so much in her life after a tragic shooting 4 years ago. What's next for Desiree Turner and how she's making a difference in people's lives.
Welcome back, everyone. The husband of Vice President Kamala Harris plans to visit Bryce Canyon National Park this week.
The White House says Doug Emhoff will be in southern Utah on Friday as part of a tour through the Southwest. The Biden administration is touring to celebrate the country's progress against COVID-19. Emhoff's visit comes as many states continue to see lagging vaccination rates.
Former Department of Defense Secretary, this man Donald Rumsfeld, has died at 88 years old. His family says Rumsfeld passed away at his home in New Mexico, surrounded by loved ones. He served as Defense Secretary under President Gerald Ford and George W. Bush. Rumsfeld received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 1977. No word yet on his cause of death.
The bodies of 4 more victims have been recovered at the site of the Surfside, Florida condominium collapse. That brings the death toll to 16 now, with 147 still unaccounted for. Search and rescue teams continue to work tirelessly for a 7th straight day in hopes of finding survivors. Meantime, engineers are trying to figure out what caused the collapse. Prosecutors in South Florida are seeking a grand jury investigation to examine possible factors behind the collapse.
Not only talking about people, millions of people are coming in, but we're talking about drugs, we're talking about human trafficking.
Former President Donald Trump was at the southern border today. About 450 miles of Mr. Trump's proposed Mexican border wall was built during his presidency, mostly in the state of Arizona. However, President Biden suspended the project shortly after taking office.
Stocks traded in a narrow range today, with the major indexes closing out the quarter at or near record highs, following a June rally powered by technology stocks. The Dow added 210 points to close at 34,503. The Nasdaq slipped 24, and the S&P gained 6.
A deadly crash caused in part by debris on I-15. The warning troopers have about this dangerous trend.
Workers and volunteers are making good headway cleaning up the disastrous mess left behind by yesterday's flash flooding.
We have team coverage for you this evening. Let's start with Lauren Steinbrecher. She is live in Springdale.
Oh my goodness gracious.
the water was just floating up around the car.
Looked like a swimming pool. Yep.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I'm telling you, in 20 minutes, that parking lot on most of the cars was up to the tires.
Unbelievable, as Rodney Smith and Stacy Cathy watched, realizing they were about to become trapped in the flash floods that stormed into Springdale and Zion National Park.
I just pedal to the metal, get the heck out of there.
Yeah.
The couple and their friends escaped to higher ground, while a sudden waterfall off the cliff cascaded into mud, rock, and debris down below, flowing with such fury. It stranded cars, damaged businesses and roads, leaving people like Stephen Spillane digging out.
As my dad always said, sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you. We got.
As he started off his 14-day trip like this, crews got to work in the hardest hit areas. Zion National Park doesn't know yet how long it'll take to clean up. For now, a trail and some parking lots are closed.
It's really going to depend because we're actively assessing. So when you start to remove the dirt, you might have a boulder that's the size of a car. You might have a boulder that's the size of, a smaller, maybe foot-by-foot boulder.
Still, they made quick work opening part of the entrance. UDOT worked on clearing the highway, picking up what Mother Nature left behind. Yeah, and coming up tonight at 9, we actually talked to the manager here at Cable Mountain Lodge, one of the hardest hit places, about the cleanup as well as the community coming together to help them out. Live in Springdale, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Flash floods take more lives than any other type of weather event in Utah.
Going in depth today, Fox 13's Max Roth looked at government data from yesterday to show us how flooding on the Virgin River developed. He joins us now in studio. Max.
Yeah, Bob and Kelly, in September of 2015, 7 hikers died in a flash flood in a side canyon in Zion. The landscape is so spectacular there because it has been carved by such violent forces. And the most violent are these raindrops falling across a parched land, gravity gathering them into trickles that become torrents.
In the desert, a small river gets water from great distances. So take the Virgin River. The East Fork in Glendale draws water from over 74 square miles. By the time the East Fork gets to Springdale, it's carrying all the water flowing from 343 square miles. Then it joins the North Fork, drawing water from 344 more square miles. Tributaries keep joining that combined river, so at Quail Creek Reservoir, the water from 1,314 square miles is flowing through. And at St. George, the Virgin River has drawn water from 4,123 square miles. That's the state of Delaware times 2. So a rainstorm here or here can cause a flash flood here. And when you're in a canyon here, you can't see anywhere close to here or here. The timeline shows the desert at its most deceptive. Thunderstorm came through at 2:30 p.m., according to the U.S. Geological Survey's monitor in the North Fork of the Virgin near the Zion National Park entrance. 2.5 hours later, the wall of water hit that same monitor, 5 p.m. Over 15 minutes, the river's volume increased almost 4 times. And water was rushing from across that bigger watershed at the same time. It was 4.5 hours later. The Virgin above Quail Creek Reservoir suddenly had 20 times its previous flow. St. George can thank that reservoir and Sand Hollow because in this same time period, they didn't see a blip of increased volume. Water managers started releasing extra water, and it hit its height at 7:30 in the morning. They've controlled the flow, so the river in St. George has only reached about half the flow of that same river near Hurricane.
Another way to look at this, at 9:15 last night, the Virgin was a small creek. At 9:30, it was bigger than the Green River as it flowed out of Flaming Gorge Reservoir. And it's not just water you can swim through. Remember, these flash floods pick up so much debris. It's like nature shooting cannonballs at everything in its way. Live in studio, Max Roth, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah is seeing a steady increase in COVID-19 cases. 574 new cases are being reported today. 3 more Utahns have lost their life to the virus. And the 7-day positivity rate is also seeing a steady increase, now at 9.8%. A little less than 8,200 more COVID vaccines have been administered since yesterday's report, and more than 4,400 more Utahns are now considered fully vaccinated.
Authorities continue to investigate a crash in Kaysville that killed 2 people and put 3 others in the hospital last night. UHP says debris fell out of a car onto I-15, causing 2 cars to stop near the Burton Lane exit. A large truck then crashed into them from behind. The truck driver has been arrested for driving under the influence.
And Bob, with road debris contributing to that deadly crash, the Utah Highway Patrol is urging drivers to reduce the amount of trash on Utah roads.
Fox 13's Haley Higgins joins us in studio to report there is a significant increase in problems. Haley.
Yeah, in the last 5 years, Utah Highway Patrol says they've seen a 17% increase in calls related to debris on the road. And while the cause of this spike is unknown, the solution is simple.
I heard this, it sounded like a sonic boom. It was so loud.
Last August, Abe Dietz was driving on I-15 near Pleasant Grove when a shovel came through the windshield at 70 miles an hour.
I told my wife something just hit me in the head and I couldn't see.
Dietz was able to pull over and somehow is doing okay.
Yeah, it was crazy to think of what could have happened and actually what did happen.
It's frightening, it's tragic, and it shouldn't be happening.
Unsecured loads and debris cause 1,800 crashes annually in Utah, according to UHP. 3 people have died because of road debris already this year.
Our roads shouldn't be acting as obstacle courses where people are having to swerve to miss dangerous debris.
And just this month, 650 bags full of trash and debris were cleaned up in the Salt Lake area alone.
It is a big problem that affects not just locally, but around the state.
UHP urges drivers to check your load, make sure everything is tied down.
I guess the different scenarios just started to race through our minds as we talked about it, and we talked about it for days afterwards. We still do, of all the what ifs.
Very close call. So if you see something in the road that could cause serious problems, it is important to call 911. Fines can reach as high as $700 if your debris causes a crash. Live in studio, Haley Higgins, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thanks so much, Haley. There is a new member tonight of the Salt Lake City School Board. Bryce Williams has now been appointed to fill the vacancy created by the resignation of Joel Organista, who was arrested on child sex assault as well as child pornography charges earlier this month. Williams will represent Precinct 1 and will fill the role until the end of next year when his seat is up for election.
Planning an Independence Day getaway? So are 47 million other Americans. What are the best times and worst times to leave? The answer coming up.
Plus, today there is a new list of the healthiest communities in America, and one county in Utah is ranked in the top 10. We'll show you which one and how the rankings compare to COVID-19 case rates.
Plus, another day with thunderstorms here across the state, and these could also produce some localized flash flooding. I'm tracking that for you and more storms tomorrow. We're back in 60 seconds.
If you and your family are planning to get away for the long holiday weekend upcoming, you should prepare for some traffic as well as long TSA lines at the airport. AAA predicts travel will get really busy tomorrow and Friday, and then again on Monday. That would be the 5th of July. Last week, Salt Lake International Airport saw its busiest day since the pandemic began and is ready to see even more travelers in the next couple of days. AAA predicts most people will be driving, however. Both UDOT and the airport warn you to prepare for delays.
On most of our major construction projects, we take a hiatus during the holiday weekend just so that we're not adding to any of the congestion. Now, that said, the lane splits, the traffic shifts are still in place, the reduced speed limits, so there could still be delays.
Well, we do ask people to be patient if they are seeing extra lines at the security checkpoint or at the concessions, because we just don't have the staff right now to handle a huge influx of passengers.
AAA says you should expect to pay more for gasoline since the demand is higher this year. Bob, it also suggests you avoid driving tomorrow or Friday to avoid heavy traffic.
All of that great advice. A new study by U.S. News and World Report and the Aetna Foundation ranks the healthiest communities in America, and some Utah communities are stacking up pretty well on that list. Factors that went into ranking include housing to population health, incomes, and health insurance coverage. Notably, Morgan County came in 9th place for healthiest counties in the U.S. More than half of communities that ranked in the top 500 had fewer COVID-19 cases than the national average. 3/4 of the top 500 also had fewer virus deaths than the national average.
Really think that's because they have an established, sort of healthcare system already in place, and they have, good public health measures. They have good access to care and the things that really matter when it comes to fighting a pandemic.
Utah has 13 counties that made the top 500. Davis, Wasatch, Summit, and Utah counties all made the top 100. Box Elder, Cache, Sevier, Kane, and Washington counties also made the top 500, as well as Tooele, Salt Lake, and Weber counties. Sevier, Kane, and Washington counties have some of the lowest case rates in Utah and across the country right now.
Still ahead, a Cache Valley teen whose journey has inspired so many takes on a new adventure now. The update on Desiree Turner when we come back.
And coming up in sports, RSL feels like they're letting some points slip away. They'll tell us what needs to change to stop that from happening. And the finals are set at the Women's State Amateur. After 2 great semifinal matches, the highlights are on the way.
Cache County shooting survivor Desiree Turner has had to relearn much of her way of life over the past 4 years. In 2017, Turner was shot in the head and left for dead in a Smithfield canal.
Just an incredible story and young woman. As Fox 13's Sarah Murphy shows us, Turner has picked up some new hobbies as well as service opportunities to inspire others in a way that is positively Utah.
I like them all, really. There's not really one that I don't like.
When it comes to flowers, 19-year-old Desiree Turner says she can't pick a favorite.
They just brighten the day.
They all make her smile.
Oh, these are so beautiful.
4 years ago, Desiree was shot in the head by 2 of her classmates.
Never imagined anything like that ever would happen. No.
But she says the injury caused her to take up a new hobby.
Lots of people were giving me flowers, and on my homecoming from the hospital, I just fell in love with flowers.
People gifted us flowers, and that was huge. Like, it was so kind of them to do that, but also it did something for us.
What it did, Desiree says, was give her a desire to serve.
I knew from age 12 that I wanted to go on a mission. And then after the shooting, I was thinking that was not possible, until I looked into it and I learned about service missions.
Are you doing 18 months? Desiree now uses her knowledge of flowers every single day.
These guys are foxglove.
As a volunteer service missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right now, I am donating my flowers and putting them in bouquets and vases to donate them to hospice care and nursing homes.
But using the flowers for service hasn't caused Desiree to forget about her own garden.
Desiree says she comes outside in her backyard garden almost daily. She says surrounded by the flowers and the plants, it gives her a chance to escape.
I do think this will be my living.
Looking towards the future, Desiree says she believes that where flowers bloom,
Here's a dahlia that's bloomed.
So does hope.
The thing about flowers is they're all so different, but they're beautiful, like me. I'm a disabled, high-functioning girl, but I'm beautiful.
Sarah Murphy, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Indeed she is. Desiree and her mother plan to continue growing their backyard garden into a U-Pick garden as a way to give back to the community.
A New Jersey man is back in Orem, Utah today after a 15,000-mile cross-country road trip that spanned 40 days. He's trying to bring awareness to a rare disease, bile duct cancer. It affects about 10,000 Americans every year. Dave Fleischer's daughter lost her life to the disease at the age of 35, so he volunteered to hit the road in his car, all to help raise money, also bring awareness to the disease.
So bringing awareness is going to facilitate better treatment and ultimately a cure, which is our goal.
Dave was able to raise more than $49,000 in 19 different cities in the 40 days he was out on the road. He does expect to hit the $50,000 mark in just the coming days.
Way to go, Dave. Well, I'll tell you what, the old adage, when it rains, it pours, couldn't be more true than it is in Utah.
Kind of ironic because we've been talking about how bad we need the rain, but then we got too much in southern Utah at one time.
Right. Too much too quickly certainly causes problems, especially during monsoon season. So for today, the main area of concern will be southwestern Utah, south central Utah, and central Utah. So we do have flash flooding threats for the areas highlighted in yellow right here. This will be localized flash flooding as a possibility for the next couple of hours. Once we start to lose our daytime heating, that threat will start to diminish, but quite a bit of lightning from Bryce up through Richfield and then over towards the Nevada border, between Caliente and Ely, Nevada. So here's what we're watching, some heavier rainfall, especially into southern Nevada and southern Utah today. So right now down towards Bryce, Panguitch, Kingston, up through Monroe, along I-70, right through Richfield. That's where we have some rain coming down. We don't have any flash flood warnings right now, but just areas that we are watching closely here in the Fox 13 Weather Center. Satellite and radar here across the region, active weather today and again into tomorrow. Price had a few good thunderstorms this afternoon. So what we're tracking for you with satellite and radar, adding on top of our watches and warnings, areas of pink up into Idaho. Those will be fire warnings. But I wanted to add this layer because right now we don't have the flash flood warnings here across the state, but it is absolutely something that is top of mind for southern Utah. We've got a lot of moisture in our mid-levels right now, and these storms will be producing quite a bit of rainfall over the next few hours. So temperatures right now about 80 to 90. The flash flooding potential for the rest of today will be possible and probable. Probable is a bit higher likelihood. It means some slot canyons, dry washes, and small streams are expected to experience flash flooding. And we went over this last week, but we'll go over it again. Flash flood safety, get to higher ground as quickly and safely as you can. Do not drive into water. Even 6 inches of water is enough to flood your engine, and you'll want to stay informed. So what we're looking right now on our Fox 13 First Alert weather app, you can always search Fox 13, and we are going to see those areas that are going to end up just on demand, our traffic graphics, our weather graphics, and you can watch those anytime on demand on your smart TV. So temperatures here across the state over the next couple of days will end up being pretty hot for St. George tomorrow with 100 degrees for a high, 104 for Friday, and for 4th of July, 103. Overnight temps in the 70s, and for the Wasatch Front, 90s tomorrow, mid-90s for Friday, close to 100 for 4th of July. Drier and hotter this upcoming weekend.
Hey guys.
Hi, how you doing? I thought you were going to start.
You guys were just discussing something.
Well,
what was it?
Well, with the pandemic, you know, RSL has not had a full capacity of fans.
And this Saturday?
Now,
yeah, full house. The Mets fans will be hoping.
It's been a while.
Cheer on a lot of goals this Saturday against LAFC. Big focus for RSL right now is putting games away and scoring goals to secure wins. They did score 1 goal against Houston, but they also gave up a goal and had to settle for a tie. RSL created plenty of scoring chances. Now they just have to put them into the back of the net.
Obviously, we're frustrated. We definitely think that there's been points left on the table here. We would obviously love to get 3, but I think we've created great opportunities to score, and what we've talked about is just being more clinical in the final third. If we can maybe get a 2-0 lead instead of a 1-0 lead, you know, that would help us massively. So just being more decisive in those moments, whether that's a finish or a spot on cross or stuff like that.
I think last game we had 21 shots and we only got 1 goal. We should be scoring easily 2 to 3 goals. We have plenty of opportunities, and it just needs to come down to finishing them and putting games away.
We all sit out. When you're not in the game, it all seems easy, and there are point-blank shots, but scoring in the game of football is the hardest thing to do. What we can do as a coaching staff is show them a scouting report where you may get areas to score on in this game, and then on the training pitch, we got to put them in those scenarios and give them reps and try to improve technique. But it's not easy, but it's definitely something we bring out, and we ask them to be a little bit more quality when they're asked to take reps.
Day 3 of the 115th Utah Women's State Amateur. They played the quarterfinals and semifinals today at Oak Ridge Country Club. First semifinal featured Tess Blair against Lali Naliai, and in the second semi was Kelsey Chug and Berlin Long. Both matches went down to the wire. Berlin Long had a great tee shot on the par 3 13th to set up a birdie. That put the Lone Peak High School senior tied with Kelsey Chug. But the four-time State Am champion won the next 2 holes. Chug rolls in the birdie putt on the 14th to go back up 1. Then on the 15th, Long's chip shot came up short of the green. Chug won the hole to go up 2 with 3 holes to play. But Long came back strong. Birdie putt on the 16th drops in. She also won 17 to even the match. Chug had this putt for par on the 18th. It lips out. Long made her birdie putt on 18, winning the final 3 holes to win the match 1 up. In the other semifinal, BYU freshman Leila Naliai is even with 2018 champion Tess Blair going into the final hole. Blair made par to even the match. First extra hole, Naliai made her par putt. Blair had to make this one to keep it going, but she missed it. Naliai won it in 19. She'll play Long in the finals. We'll be right back.
Boy, it's coming down out there, I tell you what, Allison.
Still some chances for flash flooding today, especially across southern Utah, so stay weather aware.
Yeah, be safe, everyone. Have a great evening, and Bob hopes to see you back here tonight at 9.
That's right. We'll see you then.